Hey everybody, my name is Angie Morenga. You're watching Just Angie. It's the Ustawi segment where we talk about all things leadership, justice, governance, and purpose. And today is Mashujaa Day, so happy Mashujaa Day for all Kenyans and all those who live within our borders. And I just pray that you yourself are being a shujaa wherever you are. You've got to do things and impact the world like this amazing guest that I have. Her name is Shalom, but she's going to introduce herself. I've known her for a very, very long time. Yeah. It's so long. I can't even know. I think we were there when Mavuno Church was starting.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming in. You can look into that camera, introduce yourself to our guests, whatever you'd like them to know about you. Right. Then we'll engage a conversation.
Okay. Yeah, happy Mashujaa Day, everybody. My name is Shalom Munyiri. I'm a shujaa for young people. I think that would be appropriate to call it that right now. I really work with families, helping generations just connect with each other, because one of the biggest issues we have in the world today is that lack of connection between the different generations. So I do that through running programs for young people. I host talks, facilitate sessions for parents, teens, young adults, and even children. I'm also a counseling psychologist, so we do have therapy sessions for those who need, more one-on-one conversations. I've also authored some books on parenting. Yes, so there's that's happening too.
I hope you can send the photos then, because you should have brought them so that we get them going.
Yes.
But thank you so much, Shalom, because the conversation is a roadmap to. We invited you to speak to our youth on the roadmap to mental health. And it's amazing because we've just done the show before this with Kate. And she's talked about the generational issues.
Okay.
So it's amazing that you would start there, and that is so packed. Then my calling is Isaiah 61 verse 4, which says to rebuild, raise, renew, and restore the devastation of many generations. So I call myself, my calling is generational. Yeah. When I engage with you, like with the different leadership platforms that I do, when I engage and we begin a journey, it's gonna get to generations.
It has to impact 4 generations.
For me, generations begin to, whether it's the forward generation, and behind generation, just things begin to happen so that the ministry moves beyond the person to the generation. So it's interesting that you should say that. And we really need that healing of that generational divide. So how did you start doing this? And now you just talk. How did you start doing this? Why did you do this? What do you want to tell us in the time that we have? Before I forget, on the 3rd of December, we'll be having a program where she comes, where it's both the youth and the parents. So be looking out for that on social media.
Wow. Wow. Where did I start?
Yeah, and why?
You see how hindsight is perfect?
Yes.
I think I was born to do this.
Okay.
Because even including the name that my parents gave me.
Shalom.
Yes. Imagine. So it had to do with, I've always wanted that around me. And later when I was a grown-up is when they would tell me, oh, this is what you used to do, etc. Just like teach people, teach kids, just try and maintain peace around my place.
Yeah, that's what Shalom
my space.
is.
Yes.
Shalom is such a
wholesome
word on peace. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that's where it started. Okay. However, the conscious one that I have, it has been a journey mixing up several things. I like art. I'm basically trained as a graphic designer. And when I stopped doing graphic design, around the time I was transitioning out of my design field, I started running life skills programs. Okay. I was looking for a place where I could impact my children over the holiday and have them learn certain values without being, how you sit down and lecture a child?
Yeah.
Because that wasn't working. They're getting that in school, they're getting that from parents. So I thought, why don't we have fun and do this?
Okay.
And so we started doing art and craft.
And that was for your children?
For my children.
And then you invite others.
Exactly. And one of the things that happened, I don't believe in tuition, so my kids never used to go for tuition. But then they used to excel.
The one exceptional parent.
I never used to take them for tuition. It is have fun learning, and you will retain what you have learned.
Okay.
And so when we started doing that, the school my daughter was in asked, what's going on here? Because she doesn't
do tuition.
Yeah, but
she's getting it.
Yeah,
and she's having fun.
Exactly. And so that's when I thought, okay, they invited me to run an art club in the school. We started that way. Then they said, okay, fine. As we were doing the work, we realized every time we work with children and they get certain skills, when they go home to a home that parents don't understand what's going on, then they undo the work that we have done. So we started having sessions for the parents also.
Okay, good
then
idea.
The parents then called me a counselor because of the what's it called, the effect that the sessions were having,
yeah.
they started saying I'm a counselor, and I wasn't, right? So I was just somebody passionate about family. And so I went back to school now to get the
counseling qualification.
The counseling qualification. Powerful. In between all of that, I've volunteered in Sunday school for as long as I can remember.
I can remember. That's how you met.
That's how I met your daughter. You know, I mean, your daughter was with my son in the same Sunday school. So we'd take them. You see, like how we'd take them for camps. You know, Mombasa and wherever else. Every time we took them for something like that, there was life change that was happening.
That's true.
And yes, there is the word of God. But how do you then marry what's happening in their real world with the word of God? And I know you talk about church hurt a lot. So when kids are having parents who are professing the faith, but they're hurting them because of pain that they have carried from
don't make
the past, it sort of like undoes and makes them hate God. You get, and so I used to meet.
Kill me now.
I used to meet a lot of that as a Sunday school teacher. Then there would be, and especially because I taught the 3 to 4 year olds at some time. When violence happened at home, they came and reenacted it.
In the class?
In the class. And so they would say, I saw dad doing this to mom. And they're coming and reenacting it. So something needed to happen. And so little by little, for me, what I did was start with those people. So that's why I'm saying it has been a journey. I was doing it in church at the same time as I was doing it out there. Oh my God. Every opportunity I got. Then I remember in 2012 is when I said, okay, fine, you know what? Register a company and start doing this and get anybody who can impact a child. My company is called Retro Group. And Retro, not retro. Retro. And there's jokes about it being retro kids for little kids. But yeah, so it stands for reaching in to reach out. And I believe if you have something, if you believe you have something in yourself that you can reach out and reach somebody else, we reach in to reach out. So all of us can impact. Nobody should ever say, I have nothing to offer.
Everybody has something to offer.
If you reached into what you have, you can actually reach out to somebody else. So that was the genesis of it around 2012. And so we started running camps every holiday, small sessions on weekends, on Saturdays. We'd come and teach children. So a child has seriously low self-esteem. They come and we build their confidence by teaching them to skate, teaching them to dance, as we are talking about confidence. So that's what, basically we realize along the way that mental wellness is something that gets messed up in childhood and therefore can be repaired in childhood. And that's, you have called this appropriately roadmap to mental wellness and mental health. That's where the journey basically needs to begin. So anytime somebody needs to build their roadmap, you must look into the past to see how did you get off the health path. So that then you can redo your roadmap to then get back into mental wellness. And that's not about getting down. People think that when you're mentally well, you don't get sad. But you do, only that you bounce back better.
Because even you understand the roots, you understand the effects, you probably can understand your actions, you can understand your triggers,
and you're able to
can understand why you're behaving like this, and then you deal with it in a different way. Imagine I wasn't expecting this kid so emotional. I just want to break down and cry, but it's okay. Let's keep moving. I'm like, oh my God. No, it's okay. It's good. It's good. It's because you're ministering. You really are ministering. That's amazing.
Yeah. So that's generally what the journey became. So we realized, yes, mistakes will be made. But imagine if a parent can actually say to their child, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. You know the way we say out there, standing joke. African parents don't say sorry. But we try. We're trying now to say sorry.
And I think because it's being pulled out of some of us, then the next generation is learning how to say it easily.
Also we didn't know that we were hurting.
Exactly.
That's the thing. We didn't even know that we were hurting then.
We were celebrating the abuse.
I did not know that I was hurting.
Yeah.
It's not intentional to hurt. So sometimes even when they say, like, when Althea says you hurt me, I'm like so shocked. I'm like so lost. I'm like, oh my God, then I have to get back. So why did I do this? It was not the intention to hurt.
It wasn't.
That was not the intention.
Even when you were doing it, you were doing it from a place of love.
Yes.
But that's because that's how you understood love. Or that's how love was shown to
you. Do they
understand
love differently? Does every generation understand love differently?
Actually, we all understand love the same way, but we don't necessarily give it the way it's understood. Okay. If I did something nice to you, right? If I did something nice to you, you will feel loved. But if I'm doing it because I think it is nice, therefore, let me give an example. I'm throwing you out of the house. This is one thing that used to happen to so many girls. You're told you come in late. The first thing your mother tells you, go back where you
to where you came from.
Now, that mother does not pause to think that what they're doing at that point is not building their child's resilience.
They're rejecting you.
They're rejecting you, and they don't know the battle that you actually fought to actually come home.
Good one.
That has happened to lots of teenagers. They get in trouble in school. The parent says, I don't want to hear what you said. What I don't want to hear. You never talk back to a teacher. And I know there's that thing about, okay, teachers have overstepped boundaries, but not all teachers.
Not all teachers.
I like what Covey says, that seek first to understand, then be understood. If we actually took time to listen, there'd be less pain, even if we ourselves are hurt. Yeah. We'd be hurting less people if we listen more.
So even there's a sort of stop reaction.
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing you say also.
Yeah.
Stop first, don't react first.
Exactly.
Listen and understand. And listen, really listen. Because sometimes when we listen, we're listening to give you back the answer. So really listen.
Yeah.
Really understand. And then only speak.
Yeah.
I should have met you many years ago.
I wish I knew. You met me many years ago, but I wish I knew all this.
Even you many years ago. What kind of results have you seen? But because...
You see, like we said, Althea and my son are the ones who are together.
Yes.
I didn't bring him up the way I've brought up his younger sister, who's 6 years younger.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Thero?
Yes. Because I've learned more along the way.
Okay.
And I think the idea is sometimes I find parents get to a point where they feel, gosh, I've so messed up, I might as well stay in this
messing up stage.
Nah, just change every day. This roadmap includes deciding when you're going to veer off a path that wasn't working well.
Okay.
Yeah. So you do it little by little. Apologize when you need to apologize. Yeah.
That's so hard sometimes to apologize.
Yeah.
But I guess I like that. Veer off the road. So you're on a road, but this road is not this good road. It's not leading you to the success that we want.
Where can you actually turn off?
Turn off and become different.
Yeah.
At least you had 2 kids. You have 2 children.
Two, yes.
To be able to... So Thero has had a different experience.
She's had a totally different experience. Okay. Yes. I also have stepchildren that I have parented on and off. That one has not been consistent. But even for them, they've met a different person. Yes. And parenting doesn't end. Back again to what you're saying, generational. It doesn't end until one of the people is not there. Right?
No matter how old. Because also one thing I'm seeing as well is they want freedom. But sometimes it's a bit... the other day I was having that, just thinking those thoughts. Because I saw my mom with her mother. And you know, they were old. I mean, my shosho was older, but she still treated my mom like a child. So even my grandfather, like, this is still my child. But I find that with our generation or with millennials, they don't want to be parented. But I'm always stuck. I'm always saying, but I'm still a parent. I can't switch off this button and say, I can take a step back, and I've learned to do that. And we had a lot of, what's the word? We had a lot of, a lot of
back and forth,
turmoil, tears. It was crazy.
Leave me, stop trying to control me.
You're too much, you know. She went to me one day, my love is overwhelming. I'm like, excuse me. Other people are looking for overwhelming love.
Everybody
overwhelming love is a good thing. Yes. But this what she was saying is bad. But so we found our rhythm and we got out of that space. But I feel like I'm still careful what I'll say, what I won't say.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. When do you... I don't even know what I'm asking.
Even that drawing the line. If I look at, right now I'm kind of like in between now the 3 generations, right? My father is still alive. My mom passed on a few years back. My daughter is around. They're getting into adulthood. So why I'm using my daughter is because she's the youngest. My son has already moved out. You know, he's living his own life and everything else. So they are adults. I am an adult. My father is an adult. They are asking for that freedom. I paid the price for that freedom, right? My dad is now recognizing what it looks like. So we have come up with this phrase. I don't even know where we borrowed it from. It's, I walked so that you can run.
That's beautiful.
And when we move it a little bit back, I crawled so that you can walk.
Yes.
It's understanding the experiences we went through. Instead of looking back and saying, I wish, I regret. You can't change that. But what can you do moving forward?
Yeah.
So then I find, if I at any time felt my dad was holding me back or my mom was holding me back, and I want that freedom. I get to understand at that time, based on what they knew and the world we lived in,
that was the best.
There were certain rules.
Yes.
Great. Now I know the mistakes I made because of those rules. Because I wasn't exactly a poster child, right? I had my moments of serious rebellion. So how do I then build the relationship with my children so they're not rebelling?
Yeah.
I do it from a point of information. So what I do is inform them. This is how to handle alcohol, drugs, sexual, whatever.
Yes.
This is how to handle friends. They have lost more friends than I have.
Really?
To accidental deaths, like drunk driving, overdosing. Then there's been the suicide. So they, as a generation,
have lost more people.
They have buried more friends than I have.
Wow. Oh my God.
And have been an adult much longer than they have, right? So it's to get them to understand, okay, fine, if this is what's happening in your generation, there goes that word again. How do you borrow from my generation to then thrive in yours? Don't take everything.
Take what's good.
Take what's good, what works for you. Then if we are working together, we'll get to a point where I tell you, you know what, here you're overstepping a boundary. And always give your child a warning. So they're not afraid to make mistakes. If they get punished the first time they've done something wrong, they'll not try. Give them a warning. Tell them this is where not to step. Tell them this is what will happen if you overstep this boundary. But let them try. Let them be their own person. Because when they go out there, when you look at how the things that are stressing young people, what's causing mental illness is the family situation, the friends that they have, and this lack of hope for their future. And so you find if you can allow your child to say, I don't want to see this family member. Great. You don't say that the family must always meet. Ask them why. That's why we kept incest hidden.
That's true.
But now they're able to say, I never want to be with so and so. Ask them why. So things have not changed. It is how we are communicating them that has changed. They live in a global world where they're getting information from everybody and everywhere that tells them this is how to do it. So they're bringing that out in the family. So as a family, you need to basically sit together and say, okay, so where are you getting this from? Don't believe everything you watch on TV or YouTube or TikTok, but let's talk about it anyway. Yeah.
Can we also try to get like our values as a family? Like if there's a young family, is it important to start speaking about those values and why we value what we value and why this is outside of our value system?
You must. Because before your child owns a value, they have to live it. And they have to see it being lived, right? We never had values. We never had, that family sitting at your people sit down.
We were just told what to do.
I've got a friend who actually takes the acronym of the family name and creates an acronym for the family values that they're going to uphold. But the thing that I sort of wanted to do was, like, for my kids, tell them this is who you are. Because what values do is give a foundational sense of identity.
Of who you become and who you are.
They're the ones that are going to help you face the world. When things come at you, you're able to say, but this is who I am.
And so we don't do this here.
We don't do this here. Yes.
Yeah.
And even if we are curious and we want to try, we are trying because we are curious. This is not who we are. So many times I've ended up telling my children, you know what you're doing is wrong, but you're making the choice. So that they never ever say, you made me do it. Mom doesn't make you do things. You make a choice. Now, how do you get a child to learn how to make a choice? By letting them make choices.
And telling them, this is, I like you provided. This is what the result is going to be, the possible result, the possible outcome. This is why this is not good or bad, but you try it anyway, and then maybe we can come back and learn the lessons from it. That's very powerful.
Exactly.
Because when you said that, even like at the time when you were engaging with out there at Greenhouse, there was you, there was Pastor Angie and all that. I was very grateful for that time, because there's a time like in her first 3 years in university, away from home.
Those were the tough.
She was a very different child, and there's a time she told me how even they'd pass people, blacked out on the streets, Kenyans, and I just asked her, why don't you do it? And she explained about that time.
There you go.
The principles she was taught at Greenhouse, and she used to do, what's the other thing for the girls? Noodle. So the principles that she learned there, the value system she learned there, was like, this is not me.
Yeah.
Me, I can't do this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She later did sort of like party a bit more than I would have wanted.
Yes.
But still, it wasn't to that level. You know, there was this break. There these parameters that she's put.
Yes.
Like boundary lines.
Yeah.
Like, I do not pass this.
Yes.
I even asked her once. She's always telling me, Mom, can you please stop sharing my stories on your platform?
Public,
but
whatever,
it's my platform, and I only have one child. I don't have another one to give examples of. But even asking her, like, you know, how come you've never done drugs and things like that? Because she says she has to maintain a semblance of control.
Yes.
Because this one now means moving the line and not being controlled. So
and now you see, she valued control.
Yeah.
She didn't
value very much in other things,
herself.
but she valued control.
Yeah, because she didn't want to lose it.
Yes. She doesn't want to lose it, and their values. So these are the boundary lines. Actually, the whole thing is, these are the boundary lines.
Yeah.
And you don't step out of them. But that's when you're taught. You're taught the
things.
right choices, you're taught the right values, you're taught why do we think like this.
Then you also see it happening.
Wow. Yes.
If you had no self-control, she wouldn't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
She wouldn't recognize it. Our children don't recognize what they're not seeing.
So it has to be modeled. Even strength.
It has to be modeled. Even mental strength has to be modeled.
Yes.
They have to see what you do with your own failures in life.
Yes.
Before they know how to draw their own map.
That is so true.
They have to know how you're handling failure. What happens when you're fired? What happens when somebody, even the basic one that everybody uses of cutting in front of you in traffic. How do you respond and react when things do not go your way?
Yes.
Because that's where you build that resilience.
Yeah.
That's where you build that self-control. That's where your child looks at you and says, you know what, things are tough, but mom has made it. Therefore, guess what? I can make it.
I can. And it's amazing when you say that, because that's the thing I saw for my dad. My dad had an accident. He was paralyzed for 40 years in a wheelchair. And then he passed on a few years ago. But let me tell you what I learned from my dad. Strength and resilience.
There you go.
It doesn't, if I try to, what
Whose daughter are you?
Do I have? This man, he was paralyzed and he achieved great things. So may I have a choice? And it's the same thing with Althea.
Yeah.
It has been modeled to her strength, you know?
Yes.
And that's why she's strong as well. So I can see that.
Yeah, because you can't prepare her for her world. Because you don't know.
Her world.
You don't know her world.
We actually don't know the world
you
that they're
don't
going
know
into.
the world they're going into, right? One of the phrases I keep saying is, don't say in our days. Don't say when I was your age.
Our days are over. And our age is over.
I mean, like,
oh my goodness.
Forget it.
Hey, Shalom.
Don't say those
I have
things.
nobody to. Now I'm good. I'm waiting for my grandchildren. So I can't say in our days.
You can't say in our days. You cannot say when I was your age.
Because it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's actually not the same.
Althea is in her 20s.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, she's about the same age as my son. So late 20s, right? When you were in your late 20s, did you have the kind of exposure these guys have?
And the focus.
Yes.
And the purposeful living.
There you go.
It's what she would say.
We
they are purposeful, they're intentional.
We messed
they
up
are
our 20s.
Oh, today you didn't tell me I was going to cry, Shalom. What is it now? Everything. We messed up.
We messed up our
my 20s.
Yeah.
Messed them up.
Yeah.
I'm seeing them focused, deliberate, moving, and I'm like,
you know,
wow.
The other day my daughter was having an investment conversation. I was thinking, man, I would have been a millionaire by now.
True. We've used our finances wrongly. We've used our opportunities, our strength.
So we are getting stressed by things that are not bothering them. So how do we
not bothering them?
Yeah, I mean, when they want to invest in something, they get together, they agree, they say, hey, instead of us partying, bring your money and we'll do this together. Right? But does that mean that they're not getting stressed?
No.
So we need to reach out to what is then stressing you.
What is their stress? What is stressing them?
Yes. And ask them. And it's in having that conversation that we build their mental resilience. Yeah.
And there was a young man, I'm going to ask you to do a part, but this is so powerful, I can't wait. So there was a young man who was here a while ago, and he said, you know, he was brought up by a single father, and he'd ask questions about his mother. And the answer, standard response, and sometimes it's always the flip side, like the mother is raised, single mother. You ask questions about your father, and the answer is, are you eating?
Yeah.
Are you sleeping? Do you have a roof over your head? And he was saying, that's the wrong answer. That's not what I'm asking you.
Yeah.
And whether I'm eating or sleeping is irrelevant. I'm asking, where is this parent?
Now.
So this is the question I need answered.
Yeah. Where is this parent? Can I tell you a horror story?
Yeah, tell me. I've almost cried 3 times inside. I don't even know how I'm feeling, but I'll be okay. I'll recover.
many years ago, okay, not too many, but several years ago, my mom went to a function. It was one of those ratio kind of thing where a young man was bringing his girlfriend to meet the family. And he had been studying in the UK and had stayed there for quite a bit. And so he brings his girlfriend. Now, you remember that statement of our days?
In our days.
Nowadays. Now, he had gone to the UK and found a totally different culture there and had connected with this lady. You know, connected with this lady, of course, because it's a UK and I mean, yeah, they had already had sex with each other. And so he brings the lady home. And again, back to the culture there versus the culture here. She was much older than him, but he didn't mind. Love does not know age. Age is just a number.
I shall reserve my comments.
Yes, so if you can guess where that horror story is going, the lady he brought home was his mother. So what had happened?
Wait, Shalom, wait first. What?
Yes.
The lady he brought home was
his mom. So what had happened? She had given birth as a teenager. The baby had been taken away from her, raised by a single father, who anytime the boy asked, was told that thing that you're saying. Are you eating? Do you? Yeah?
He had had sex with his mother.
Yes.
Shalom.
Yes.
Okay, who's go? Shalom, you didn't say the things you're going to share today were for not breathing.
But these are the things that are causing mental illness.
Who will break that story to him that this is his mother?
I don't know, because this is how that story happened.
People will just start screaming.
Now,
there are people who know.
Yes, but if you remove a 16-year-old girl from Ushago, then you take her to the UK, she gets a good job, good schooling, good whatever, she's not going to look like that girl that you knew.
She doesn't. She won't look old.
She went there when young. She's not going to speak like the girl that you knew.
Oh, so she was in the UK?
She had been in the UK.
Wow. Shalom.
They rejected that family and, yeah.
That story ended. So and they gave away the child?
Yeah. No, the child was brought up by the dad.
Oh, by the dad.
Yeah. All right. So I do not know how they sorted out the end of it. But what happened was everybody is seated. My mom was one of the guests. They're seated waiting for the thing to happen. And this boy walks in with a girl who recognized
the family.
No. The man who had had sex with the girl knows her intimately, knows her well enough. So when she walked in, the father of the boy recognized
this
her.
Is the mother of the son.
Yes.
Who she's now coming as a bride.
He walked out, he couldn't speak to anybody, he walked out and kept walking. People ran after him. He said, it's over, done. We're not having that event. So my mom as a guest was kicked out. Later is when she found out this is what has happened. She called our family and said, listen to me. Forgive anybody who may have made any mistake that may have brought up a child. If you yourself know you have a child somewhere,
say it.
Connect. Because many times we will misunderstand the chemistry that's biological to be something romantic. Okay. And it can cause serious problems. So much as I don't know what happened in that family, one of the effects on our family is that we had to keep meeting, we had to keep talking, we had to keep sharing. Don't judge somebody because of mistakes that they have made. What does it look like to move on? What does it look like to protect ourselves? I've got stepchildren, and they are friends with my biological children. Yes. Because of such stories. It's important that they actually get to know each other. Now, here we are with blended families, right? Nice name for what family structure has become.
Yeah.
While we are looking at the cool factor of being in blended families.
Are we looking at a cool factor?
There are some who actually, yeah. I mean, it's become very easy to marry, remarry, to marry, divorce, remarry, and it's
because it really shouldn't be about coolness.
I don't mean easy.
It should
because
be like this is something that has happened and now we have to do it. But it can't be fashionable.
It's easier. I'm seeing kids in the counseling room who come. They're 30-something in the class. Only 2 of them are from parents who are married. Everybody else is from
the blended families.
Blended, single, whatever, there's
drama.
something, lots of drama going on. Now, what happens is that there's lots of, and that's a very long story because that's what's happening. Family has taken a beating.
It's disintegrated.
And when we look at the most recent way of getting it done, we are having hurt people not dealing with the heart, but because it's okay to remarry, they're divorcing very quickly, and remarrying very quickly before they deal with what is it that caused
this first divorce.
Yeah. I once ran a workshop on blended families. And this couple came and said, this is how we were together. We got children. We broke up. We got children. We realized, oops, we really do like each other. We came back again. We have children. So they have the children they got at the beginning. They have children that they got with those relationships.
And now they have
other children too. Yeah. So how do you draw that family tree?
You're saying family tree, and you have so many tears in my eyes. I'm thinking, how does a child even navigate that?
Yeah.
How do you find yourself? Because all these are battles on identity. How do you find yourself in all that?
Yeah. And that's why when a child asks, who's my mom? Just tell them.
Be forthcoming with who's the mom, who's the dad, where they are, facilitate the connections, and stop the drama.
When they ask what happened, please don't blame them for it. What happened? We just didn't agree with each other.
Yeah.
So we couldn't live
Don't trash the
together.
other person.
Don't trash the other person. It's getting people, and you see, again, because nothing is happening in isolation, the world is talking about mental wellness, right? A lot. So the child is getting all this stress, then they go out there, because the parent is not answering the question, they Google, and they find out what happens if you're feeling this. They're given a solution on the internet. It's not necessarily going to align with your values, but it's a solution that they're given. How do you help that child navigate that? That's why parents are getting shocked by the level of self-harming that's happening. They're getting shocked by the age of suicide. They're getting shocked by the stuff that kids are imbibing and drinking and injecting themselves with.
So even as you talk, Shalom, and as we prepare to bring this to a close, I sense parenting has gone to another level and is being complicated by society.
Yes.
And the culture that we live in,
Yeah.
and the things that we do. It's very complicated.
It's complicated. And it is hard for parents. I do not like bashing parents because, the world has come at them, at us. I'm not sure I would want to be parenting a child right
I'm
now.
actually quite happy that I'm not.
You get?
I'm looking forward
because
to grandchildren.
of all the things that you have to navigate to even get this child to be okay. It's already hard enough raising a teen. I'm just stepping out of the teen years. And it's something I feel, if we can do whatever we can to support parents in their journey, then we will heal generations.
But I'd like you to make a party statement. But what I'm also hearing you say is there's also we need to be also heal. There's an intention to heal.
Yes.
If you're going to be a parent, if you're going to be a spouse, if you're going to start a family, it's not as easy. It's not just ABC here.
No.
We need to get healing because you see, it's these people as well. It's all the, I don't know which generation they are, but they are also hurting. Yeah. The individuals are hurting. Then they haven't dealt with their own pain. Then they bring this pain together. Then they bring children into this pain. Then the drama is excess.
Yeah.
Because if we at least deal with our pain, deal with our issues, go to therapy, talk to somebody about it, and then come together, then recognize who we are, our triggers, just recognize and have those authentic conversations, then I think we'll be at a better starting place. And even right now, if there's somebody with a family right now looking at situations, maybe you don't want the family to become like this, then that's the place. I think this is the trigger to start having these conversations.
Just have the conversations.
With Shalom. Call her for your groups. We'll write her contacts. Come on the 3rd of December with your kids. If the kids don't come, you come. Get some equipment. If the parents don't come, as your children, you come. Let's just get some help, because I just feel like we need help.
Yeah.
We need help. And I've been making this statement. Oh, God is now reclaiming families. Hey! I've just realized the reclaiming is a bit more complicated than I thought that we were going to do through what?
I seriously think he is.
I think he is. We are definitely in a season of reclaiming families.
Do you know why?
But it's it's
Do you know why?
It's an
Because
uphill battle.
now the spotlight is on the rot.
It's on that rot.
Rot, yes.
True, Sharon.
Yeah. If he wasn't, we wouldn't be seeing the
the rot.
mess that is actually there.
Yeah.
Because for something to be reclaimed, it has to actually be identified.
Yeah.
So it has to be identified as a problem. So then there can be some reclaiming happening.
Yeah. I think so. No, and I don't know which side people voted. I'm so tired of making excuses, but I think also the president that we have and the top leadership that we have, they are not perfect, but there's an element of family that has come in, and strong family.
Yeah.
I love the way he keeps referring to his children. They're not just a by the way. He actually talks about them and he's proud of them. So there's something. So I feel like even with the top leadership of the nation, because of Psalm 133, that there's something happening. There's a recognition of family and how family is. I'm not saying they're perfect. I know things are hard. I'm not saying all those things. I'm just saying I can see effort. God is trying to do something.
Yeah.
And you see, creating strong families creates a strong society.
Yeah.
So that then we can get on with the work that we need to do as a nation, but because we need a lot of healing.
Yeah. Honestly, we do need a lot of healing.
We need a lot of healing.
And when it comes to family, whatever image somebody puts out of family out there, let's understand that it's important. You see, the image of family, the importance of family that they're putting forward, that's very, very important for the masses, right? But each family who's seeing what they're doing needs to do their version of healing.
Yeah, for their family.
For their family.
Yeah, agreed.
So that you understand that this is an example that's being set for you. What does it look like on your end, right? I don't bring up my children conventionally because of choices that I have made, right? And when I say not conventionally, there's things that people say, this is what you must do with your child. If you do that with my children, it will backfire on you. Why? They learned how to think and question from a very early age, right? So, in fact, there's one time you came and gave a talk and you influenced my daughter.
I really hope it was positive.
Very positive.
Oh, hallelujah.
Because... And I remember after that, she actually went and started lecturing the gardeners in our estate.
Why?
About how they need to behave and carry on their life.
Why?
You had told them that that's what somebody's supposed to do.
No.
Yeah. So you did it, you said it, you came and spoke. It was at a camp in Kenya. She was like 5 years old that time.
Oh my goodness, Thero.
And so she went and said, this is what you're supposed to do. Why? Where did she get that confidence from? Mama Althea, remember Althea was like a big sister to her. So you are her hero. You are her shuja at that point in time. So even if I say the same thing, I'm saying them because I'm the mom.
But somebody else comes and
But
says.
when Mama Althea says, this is what she told us. So one day I actually found her lecturing a gardener. Wow. And I listened in from the window and I'm thinking, honestly, you're this small. He's on a ladder. He's up there cutting a fence. And you're telling him, you can't do this. He had to change his behavior around our house.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
And he one time came and told me, I can't do some of these things near your daughter because, hey, why do I want to be lectured by a child? Now, when I saw that, right, for me, I grabbed that and ran with it. Why? Influence is like the other side of manipulation.
Wow.
Right? She could have been an influencer or could have been a manipulator. All of it is changing people's
lives and trajectory of their lives.
Exactly. So do I want her to do it for good or for bad?
For good.
So what do? Train her, expose her, keep pushing her to places where positive people are speaking in her life.
That's amazing.
And then that helps her grow. Why? I don't like talking about family without saying you can't do this alone.
You have to do other
It
people.
takes a village.
That's why
you have to have a network. It has to have other people.
Wow.
She's not a product, and my son is not a product of me and the father.
Yeah.
They're a product of everybody who we allowed to speak positively into their life.
And I can say that about
So
Althea.
while
Althea
I'm
is
healing,
a product of everyone.
While I'm healing, my level of healing is not your level of healing.
That's true.
Where you have healed beyond me, speak to my child.
Yeah.
Where I have healed beyond you, allow me to speak to your child. And when we share that journey, we'll have a totally mentally strong society in the years to come.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shalom.
That's how
Where do
I
they
think
find
it
you?
works.
You put your website, you put everything, contacts.
Retro Group with the I, RITRO
RITRO
group as one word.
Yes.
.co.ke.
Okay.
And if they search for Retro Group on YouTube, I have lots of videos that I basically put up speaking about these issues. And yes, so on social media, basically it's Shalom Munyiri. So either on Facebook, Instagram. I hate Twitter, so yeah, I have an account, but I never check it.
Just like me. Wow.
Yes.
Me, this conversation, I didn't know it was going to be this emotional. I didn't know I'm going to have to go deal with my things, even me, oh my God. And I'm glad that I'm raising an adult children. And the other people I'm waiting for is my grandchildren.
Yeah.
I pray those days I'm going to get it right. I'm going to get it right. I'm going to speak. I'm going to do. I'm going to share. I'm just going to give them that power of influence as well, and just really try to do my best.
Yeah.
But thank you
That's
so much.
That's the thing I'd like to leave it at.
Yes.
Do your best.
Do your best.
Don't worry about doing it right.
Do your best.
Do your best. Because you don't know what's right. Yeah. You won't know. They're going to be in a totally different generation. Do your best. And I think that's all we can do. Do our best.
Oh gosh, I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you, me too.
I am just like, wow, like overwhelmed, like, okay, we're going to do this. But I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's
and
such
I can't
an honor.
wait for the 3rd of December and all the other forums that you do. And may please, people, we bring people to help you. You need help, help. Go and get the help that you need. Humble yourself and go sit and listen. God bless you. Bye-bye.